From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and I am joined by the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and this is the NFL Bet Exchange. And we feeling good. We feeling great. Let's go ahead and get started with the show today. And you know what? Week 5 was we didn't have everybody playing last week. And you know what? I think me and Jeff kind of went on autopilot, to be honest with you. So week 5 wasn't good to either one of us. I had 5-9, 30, and that makes my record go to 36-42. Jeff had a rare losing week where he went 5-9 as well too, 39-41. It was crazy because it seemed like the games that we picked opposite on, you won one or I won, or it just didn't work out. Then some of these games that we came together on were absolute fails. So it happens. All in all, how did your week 5 go? Other than that, with clients and just your personal plays as well too.
Overall, we were up 2 units for the week. We, the NFL is crazy, as everyone knows here that follows me, especially. It's not one of these where we dig in and we play a bazillion games. We do our action parlay. And last week was the first time ever I put together 2 top parlays. I used 2 money lines just to win, and then my 2 dogs of the day. So I had the Bengals money line with the Steelers money line and spread with the Patriots. And I knew in the first quarter, again, the Patriots were a loss. Then our other parlay was with the Patriots, with the Bengals, with the Cowboys, and I knew right away the Cowboys were dead. So overall, we win a couple weeks, but Sundays is not a day where you can just go in and go guns a-blazing at 1 o'clock. Then, if you win, double down. At 4. If you lose, try to get your money back. The NFL is not for long, as we can see in a week-to-week. Anyone can beat anyone. What did we see after week 5? Well, it looks like Joe and Jamar Chase are back. So we elevate the Bengals. We saw, again, the Eagles played grab ass for the first half. Hats off to the Rams, and then they just took care of business. The 49ers made a statement. Go to the AFC and Buffalo. As I talked about at length, Pops, I thought the Jags sitting there waiting for them were going to be a problem, that they were. Chiefs just – the Chiefs. It is what it is with the Chiefs, and that's even with a banged-up Kelsey. The Patriots are dog meat. The Dolphins are the real deal. They suffer an injury with A-Chain. Minnesota Vikings, thanks for playing. Jefferson out at least till week 10. So injury is a big part. Overall, glad to be here at week 6. I want to say this, Pops, and again, when I was grading our plays, I think I started 5-0, and if that was the case, I might have lost the last 9, which is absolutely hilarious. If I did, apologies. Hopefully anyone following my plays just played the first 5, collected their money, and got out, Pops.
Well, yeah, man. And don't think that, and I had to recount it twice too, man. I wasn't, I'm not trying to, may even go ahead and recount it to make sure that it's all the way right. But, pretty much.
No, I get it.
With, huh?
No, that happens in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens, but you know what? It's all good. We got week 6. Now we got an idea what we're looking at, and now we really got an idea how we can go ahead and really attack these games and really go about our business with the spread. Now, with this game right here, Thursday Night Football, I actually opened it up on my Sunday on my opening lines because Pop DiBiase got his own opening lines as well too, and I can see that they're kind of biting my style a little bit. Hey, Fontaine Blue Vegas, make a call. Hey, Sheriff Pad, since you the mayor of Vegas, go up in there and let them know if they're trying to go ahead and really get some people in that sports book, they better give me a call. So we got the Thursday Night Football with these 2 great rivals in the Broncos and the Broncos and the Chiefs. The Broncos coming in here 1-4. The Chiefs are coming in here 4-1. Having this team actually wound up winning, haven't lost since week 1, and we kind of figured that they were going to have their issues in week 1 because they had no Chris Jones that day, but they only lost that game by 1 point. The Chiefs are a team that I truly do feel that it's not that they haven't missed a beat, because we know that they're kind of coasting and they're on cruise control right now, but that's okay. They've earned the right to be like that, because you don't win in this league in the first half of the season, you win in the second half of the season. And the Chiefs have pretty much understood that part. And you know what? Sunday was a great opportunity for everybody to see that the Chiefs could win a game and make a whole lot of mistakes as well, too. This team had 10 penalties for 86 yards, and that should have cost them the game, Jeff. Straight up. That should have lost them the game right there. But Mahomes had a great game that day. And you know what? The defense did their job when it was time to do their job. That's why I keep saying about the Chiefs is that they have a bend but don't break defense. They are the true essence of that sentiment. And they pretty much stepped it up when it was time to step it up. It didn't matter what little things we saw going on in that game. The Chiefs stepped it up when it was time to, and that's exactly how they went ahead and won that game. Now, the Broncos, in their situation, the Broncos are a mess right now. The Broncos are an 0-5 team when it comes to the spread. They're not, they're 1-4 on the season. They're 0-3 at home as well, too. This is not the Broncos that we're used to at all, Jeff. It's just a team that's really going about their business in a bad way, in my opinion. I really feel like Sean Payton is going through an evaluation stage of who he really is going to keep on this roster and who he's not going to have on this roster. But I know one thing, though, is Russell Wilson is probably a guy that's getting a lot of flack that doesn't really deserve to get all that flack, because it's both sides of the ball that are affecting this team. And at the same time, too, the offensive line is really below standard of what we've come to know with the Denver Broncos and everything. But with that, I feel like on 3 days, I know that you have a team in the Chiefs that know that they can win this game. And will they be up to playing Chiefs football for 4 quarters? Or will it be a game where they're going to have to get kind of popped in the mouth a little bit for them to get into the game? This, to me, and I know it sounds crazy right now, brother, but this to me is a possible upset alert. But I'm just going to be smart and take the spread with the plus 10.5 on the Broncos. But I truly do feel like if anybody's to bounce back in a game and it's a rivalry game, it could be the Broncos, because they do have the coach that's capable of drawing up a game plan within 3 days to beat Andy Reid. Because we've seen the great games between Andy Reid and Sean Payton. It's going to be a great rivalry renewed between these two as well. Well, Jeff, what are your thoughts and where are you going with this game?
I double down on exactly what you're saying. Short week, team in disarray. Don't know what's up with Javonte Williams. McLaughlin stepped right in. Still looking for Judy Sutton. At the end of the day, when this dust settles, ownership and management are going to have to decide. Is Peyton our guy, which we know he will end up being, and we do know this, Russell Wilson will be the scapegoat. There's some teams in the NFL, the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, and there's a couple others that need to go and take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers. They got to look at it from the top to the bottom, from the management to the quarterback to the team on offense and the team on defense, and they just got to blow these things up. And I think this is where Denver's heading. The bottom line, Russell will end up being the scapegoat. I bought the hook. Everyone watching and listening to the show, you're going to see a lot of money lines. You're going to see a lot of buying hooks. What I'm doing here is trying to get off of a key number, or I'm trying to get us at least to if I get us to a key number like this, instead of 10.5, we got it to 11, so it takes 12 or better to beat us. So I'm taking the Broncos plus 11. Short week. Hope for them to keep it close. Vegas is telling us 30-20 right now. Can Russ get to 21 or 23 is the question. Can this defense slow down Patrick Mahomes? The patented first quarter, 9 for 10, 8 different wide receivers. look for Pacheco to have a big game as well. So I like the Broncos. McLaren. I keep saying McLaren, thinking of Washington here. McLaughlin probably finds the end zone as well, Pops.
All right, sounds good, Jeff. Sounds really good. So we're both on the Broncos for this one. So we're both in the same boat for that one. So we go to London for the Ravens and the Titans. Plus 3.5 spread for the Titans, who will be playing as the home team on the neutral field. Also over under at 39.5. This is my exact number that I had on my opening lines as well too. The Ravens coming in here 3-2 off of a really, really bad loss, in my opinion. I feel like this team had that game won. They had that game really, really, they kind of melded in there at the end. That, it was such a physical and hard game that at the end they were really tired. You know what I mean? And the Steelers once again played with the attitude of playing like their life depended on it. And this team, it all goes back to how they're coached. And it's all about how they approach this situation. The Steelers are veterans at being dramatic in this league. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Ravens, with their lollygag attitude, this is what got them beat again. Because they had this idea that they were dominating a game that they truly were never dominating. And so what happens is when it comes down to the important situations of the game, this Ravens team is not the same team. They're a team that absolutely crumbles under that pressure. And it's like you tell yourself, hey, you guys paid Lamar a lot of money to be a guy who can figure this situation out for you. And once again, Lamar did have a game where his passing yards were 236. It was his second best passing game of the year. It was off a yard, whatever, but it was his second best passing game of the year, but it was one of his worst games overall. He was through an interception. He was sacked 4 times and only completed 57% of his passes and had a QBR of 65.2. That's not going to cut it, Jeff, at all. And I know that they had some issues because you had to bring back Beckham Jr. and all that good stuff, but they should have scored. They should have did way more in this game because their defense did too good of a job for them to blow the game the way that they did. And you look at the Steelers' numbers, these numbers don't tell you that this is a team that won the game, even though Gray Pickens did have a day with 6 catches and 130 yards. But that just goes to show you that the Ravens do have a little bit of flaws on that defensive end. But I truly do feel that the Ravens had this idea that they already had the game won, and that's why they wound up losing that game. And I truly feel like this team is way too vulnerable to keep doing that. And I don't know how they're going to approach the situation, but I don't trust the Ravens in London because we remember last time they went to London as a 4-point favorite against the Jaguars. And you know what happened in that game. And that Ravens team, I could say this was probably much better than this one right here. And they got absolutely cooked. And the Titans are coming off fresh off of a loss in a game that they possibly could have won. And I know that there were some things that they just couldn't figure out. And we can put this together as well, too. The Titans aren't that good on the road, Jeff. They're 0-3 now on the road. And that was their first game where they scored more than 3 points on the road as well, too. So it was a tough spot for them. But now they get to go to England in a de facto home game, and they've been a better home team all season long. They haven't lost a game at home. So if we look at it as a Titans home game, then we should be really confident in what the Titans bring to the table on Sunday because this is going to be a physical, hard game, just like that Steelers game was. And I feel like the Ravens really aren't going to be cut out for that right now. And I think they're going to be getting a bye soon as well, too. So that makes total sense that if they lose this game, you don't press the panic button, but there's a big, strong possibility they lose this game. But I'm going to take the insurance and take the Titans with the plus 3.5.
You know what's not seen for people in the box score of that Ravens game is a Bateman wide open 69-yard touchdown he dropped. Mark Andrews, 3 drops. Zay Flowers, 2 drops. There were 7 in all. And Lamar It came down to that fourth quarter, and after the drop by Bateman, which he was gone for 69 yards, and then a wide open first down by Zay that he dropped. The only route that Odell Beckham knows right now 100% is how to get back to the locker room. Again, a man collecting checks, doesn't fight it. He goes, guys, I gave it a shot, and just runs directly to the locker room. A waste of talent, a waste of money. The one hit wonder with the most, that one catch that is, taking him to stardom. I'm worried about the Ravens. I'm worried about the front again of the Titans. They put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. If they contain their lanes, this will be a tough game for the Ravens. Initially, I liked the bounce back spot. I would have liked it better in Tennessee, to be honest with you, but it is in London. I bought the hook. I took Titans to +4 here, minus the 120. I would put the Ravens in upset alert. A loss by the Ravens and a win by the Bengals. And here you go again. Now the Browns got a tough game this week against San Fran. Watson's still a question mark. So what we thought was the toughest division in the NFL in the preseason turning out to be the softest division. So give me the Titans plus the points, and we'll see what happens in London.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this one right here. This is a good NFC matchup between the Commanders 2-3, and then you got the Falcons 3-2. 2.5 point spread to the Falcons, and then you also have an over-under of 42 points here as well. In their last 10 matchups, the Falcons actually have won the last 7 out of 10, but in the last 2 games that they played, the Commanders won those games. So this is a tricky series, but we know all the time that the Commanders do actually own the season series of 17-10, won overall ever against the Falcons. And I just threw that out there just because, Jeff, because I was doing notes and stuff. So, I just wanted to make sure that people knew that. But all in all, you got a Commanders team on 10 days of rest coming into this game. They played their worst game of the season. Let's keep it real, after playing one of their best games of the season. And I knew that the physical toll of the Eagles game was going to wear them out in that Bears game, but they didn't take the Bears as serious as they should have. And that's why they wound up getting beat the way that they did. But they did show some life in that third quarter that made you say, okay, they really are a team that doesn't really quit. But what happened in the Commanders game, there was just too many mistakes made coaching wise by Ron Rivera, and that's what put them in a bad position throughout the game. And it pretty much was hard to catch up with that situation, even though it felt like it was going to be a comeback coming against the Bears, whose defense was, very suspect. But once again, when you get 3 days rest and you have one team that's pretty banged up and they did a lot of plays offensively, they just don't have it. And then when they get banged up on the other side as well too, they won't have it late. And that's exactly what happened. And then you say, no, but the Bears played 3 days earlier. The Bears played a game where they kind of were up and then they went on cruise control and then they lost the game. And so they came in there pissed off. They played pissed off. That's just what it was. And the Commanders got the brunt end of that, and that's what happens. And, you take the loss, chuck it up, and move on. The Falcons last week, another miracle finish at home. We know that the Falcons were absolutely awful on the road. They scored 13 points and gave up in the process 43. So they are not a good road team. That's just pretty much what everything is indicating. But at home, it's a different story because they're playing some of the best defense in the NFL when they're at home. They're also playing some really good team ball as well too. And Bijan Robinson just lights up the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, just crazy. They just love what the kid is doing, and he was able to score a big touchdown Sunday as well too to put them ahead in that game. And that was just a good back and forth game with a beatable team. let's keep it real, Jeff. We know the Texans are on the up and up, and they had 1-2 in a row coming into the game, but those were adrenaline wins. You know what I mean? And you got Atlanta coming fresh off of a beat down in London. They hadn't seen their home crowd in 2 weeks, so that perfect storm was able to get them a good win against a team that was very similar to them in the Texans, a team that you really don't know who they're going to be at the end of the road. But, at the end of the day, they're not going to be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But the Falcons have playoff aspirations because they play in a very weak NFC. So when you look at the way that this game sets up, I truly do feel that the Commanders, who are a little bit more of a physical team and a team that really had a rough game Thursday where it just nothing worked, but you could see the potential of things working. And Sam Howell is not playing the greatest football, and I think that this game will be the one that they really judge on if they should be moving forward with Sam Howell, if they truly want to get themselves to where you predicted they could be in the playoffs, Jeff. So I say that, you give Sam Howell another opportunity to try to win this game for you. But if he struggles a bit, you might need to go to Brissett next week. You know what I mean? You just might have to think about that option because Washington does have a good little small chance to be a playoff team. But I think that you have to be able to check the quarterback position as well, too. The two quarterback position has become the weakest link on the offensive side. Even though Sam had his best game last time out, it's still an issue. But all in all, I truly do feel what comes down to it is that the Commanders have a team that's just a little bit more physical than the Falcons. The Falcons, to me, are a finesse team, and they're a little soft. Let's keep it real. And I just really, truly feel that the Commanders win this game. I'm taking them straight up, Jeff, on the plus 115 money line. So there it is. There it is. What are your thoughts, and who do you have winning this game?
My true number was a pick 'em with a 40. It's now at 42 with the Falcons at a 2.5. I like where your eyes are. When you go back to Thursday night's game, it was the perfect storm for Fields and company. Thank God I had the Fields to DJ Moore, and I had Cole Kmet in some spots for the fantasy. And so I had like 109 points between the three of them on one team. But now coming to this game, Bijan looks great. He just not giving them the rushing goal line attempts because they don't get down there often. Drake London making some nice catches. Kyle Pitts still on a milk carton. Jono Smith, former Patriot, former Titan, has had his role increased. What really stuck out on Thursday was Washington's defense. I think this is a game for Washington to win. They need their defense to show up. The Falcons aren't going to rush to the window and put up 24 or 27. You keep the Falcons in that 17 zone. I like what I've seen in spurts with Sam Howell. He can make all the throws. Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuels quietly had increased role. Thomas Logan, which was a big pickup for me last week, scored last week, has got an increased role, the tight end from Washington. Johan Dotson, who I was so high on, MIA as well. So you need to start increasing his look. I like Washington. We bought the hook to +3, but I like where your eyes are. I think Washington wins this game, Bubs.
I just think that it's a funny situation with the Falcons. They're weekend. They're a different team every week, and I think that they're, like I said, they're better. They seem better at home, but they are struggling on the road. But let's see how it goes because this is probably the best matchup they've had at home, team wise. Because when you look at who they played, the Panthers, Packers, and the Texans. And you say those games are winnable. But when you look at this Commanders game, it's a 50-50. That's what it was when you looked at it on the schedule as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Let's get into this Vikings-Bears game, and then we'll be taking our first break after that. And we got the Vikings coming in here 1-4, Bears 1-4. That's not the right line because the Bears are actually the dog-a-dog. And the Bears – it's funny because this line just lined up the way that I knew it was going to line up. I had it +3 as well too, because I said that, you know what, at first I said, you know what, they might make it a pick 'em because, you know, you got two teams, 1-4, blase, but then I said, nah, they're going to play this one up to where the Bears are still a weak team in their eyes, and the Vikings are a team that just fell short in a game that they could have won against one of the best teams in the league. And when you look at the Vikings schedule, when you see that they played both the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, you do give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And you know that they had a bad game with the they had a really bad game with the Bucks to start the season. That game could have went either way in that situation. And you just really know that the Vikings have fell short in these games, and it's not like they got blown away. They haven't got blown out once yet this year. They just had bad. They just couldn't finish. And I truly do feel that, you know, the team that we saw in Carolina is the team that's possibly going to start taking over here for the next few weeks, because they could have won that game so many times on Sunday, but I felt like the play calling was a little questionable too. But I think in the spur of the moment, heat of the moment, they got a little nervous. And when Justin Jefferson went out, you know, people, you heard the sighs and the oohs and the ahs and everything like that. But then you say to yourself, that's the reason why they drafted Jordan Addison as well too, because he's supposed to be just like Justin Jefferson, a guy that stays open. And I don't think Justin Jefferson's injury is going to be prolonged, but I don't know what his status is for Sunday. But I truly do feel the Vikings will overcome that, because what happens here is that they have Kirk Cousins. And regardless of how people feel about Kirk Cousins, if you handed Kirk Cousins, say, an offense like the offense that is in Los Angeles with the Rams, he would be a much better option for them than Stafford. I'll keep it real with you. And they would probably have a winning record right now too if he was their quarterback. So, you know, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of elements where you say to yourself, if he was playing with a certain teams, it would probably be a different story. Kirk Cousins is still a pretty good quarterback in this league. It's just that it seems that it's just not enough. It's been like that his whole career. But I truly do feel after what happened Sunday, they should be really in tune to this game because it's a divisional. And the Bears, I think the Bears have realized that they're still a work in progress. And that game last Thursday showed that, you know what, it's okay that we keep taking our time because we got the quarterback, we got the receivers, but we need to get ourselves an offensive line and we need to get ourselves a defense. The Bears know that they're a work in progress. I think they finally realized that situation as well too. And I truly think the Vikings want to bounce back big time after what happened last weekend. And I truly do feel that they win this game. And I'm taking them with the -3 right here. I know it's like, why don't you just money line them? But I don't feel like overspending on the money line. I trust them to win this game by a touchdown or better. Jeff, what are your thoughts? And what do you have this game? Where do you have this game going? Who do you have winning? And
First of all, Justin Jefferson has been put on the IR. He will be available, I think, week 10. Their bye week is not till week 13. And I've talked to a lot of colleagues already this morning. Look at it this way. There's been talks that, Kirk Cousins could be on the move, even to a team like the Jets looking for a quarterback. Everyone knows Cousins is a free agent. Everyone knows that the Vikings are not going to pay for him. So if you can get some assets, the trade deadline is October 31st. Might as well try to get something for him, a team that's going absolutely nowhere, where Jefferson might be to that point. Well, guys, I'm really not 100%. Let's wait a couple more weeks. Why come back? We saw what Stephon Diggs did in Minnesota. Maybe Jefferson will be that next person that, forces his way out. And true, Pops, that's why they that's why they drafted Jordan Addison. Bumps, Hawkinson, Addison, KJ Osborne, if he's available on your draft, on your waiver wires, jump in and get him. He will fit right in as the third target over there as well. I bought the hook. I took the Bears to 3.5. Big spot for Justin Fields. Khalil Herbert out for a couple of weeks. Roshan Johnson on a concussion protocol. So again, anyone that has Donta Foreman who will be moved up and available to play on your waiver wire, he might be looked as a possible add this week in fantasy. But I took the Bears plus the 3.5. My line initially was Vikings minus 1.5 with a 46.5, down to 44.5 here. Vegas has this as that 24-20 game. I think Fields and company can get to 21, maybe even 23 or 24. I think the Bears plus the money line as well, little pizza and bear money, can actually win this game outright, Pops.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our first commercial break. And when we get back, we will be jumping into some more early games. So you guys stay tight. And you guys stay right there. Stay tuned. And we'll be right here when you get back. So this is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
Hey, Pops.
Yeah.
This just in, the L.A. Rams have traded Van Jefferson to the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, it seemed like he was on the move, and that's a really, really good trade that occurred for them as well, too. Also, in NBA news, I'm not going to report that. I'll say that for my show later on. But
you can tell me.
I know, but you know what? We got to do it. You know what? The thing is, I want to make sure that everything's in place because, when I cut the videos up and everything like that. So,
You can text it to me.
No, you know what? I'll just say Brendan Malone, the father of Mike Malone, passed away, 81 years old. So, Brendan Malone, I remember him being a coach 30 years ago who was a good assistant coach. And I think he had a little run in Toronto for a moment there. And, but that's Mike Malone's dad. So he passed away and everything. So RIP, condolences to him. I lost my father a year ago on this day as well, too. So I understand the sentiments and things like that. So it doesn't really matter about, what guys said in parades and things like that. Today, we all mourn with Michael Malone. You know what I mean? So RIP to Brendan Malone, who was a great influencer of the game, a great mind of the game and everything like that, and a great servant to the NBA world as well, too. So with that, let's go ahead and get back to football. All right. We got the Seahawks and the Bengals. The Seahawks coming here 3-1. The Bengals are 2-3. The Bengals are a 2.5-point favorite, over under 46 as well, too. And I feel like the Bengals, you get yourself an easy one, and then you got to come back to Cincinnati and play against tough team, a hard one. It seems like nobody's saying this, but the Bengals probably had one of the tougher schedules to start the season. Come on. You had the Browns in Cleveland. You had the Ravens week 2 who had revenge on their mind. Then week 3, you had a kind of a gimme game with the Rams in a sense because you was on Monday Night Football. Then you twist back around. You got to play a tough Titans team at home. The Titans are a tough home team. And then you got to go and play the Cardinals, who seem to be a good little scrappy team. They might not beat you, but they're going to make you work for your win. And now they got to get Seattle this week. So I would say that pound for pound, first 6 weeks of the season, this is making the Bengals a lot more tougher than, a lot of people felt that, a lot more tougher than a lot of people probably thought that it would be. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this just really molds and shapes a champion as well too. You got to have it hard in the beginning sometimes for you to have the beauty in the end. And I think that the Bengals have had a great example of that over the last few years. The Bengals have been slow starters the last few seasons. And now, they had to get themselves a get over game, and that's exactly what happened there. Now you got a team in the Seahawks who are fresh off of a bye. They're 3-1. They've won their last 3 games in a row. They've really played some pretty good football. And we could keep it real that this team kind of is another team that kind of got the good just of a schedule as well too. I know you had the Rams opening week. We all got popped in that game. That was an upset somewhat. And then week 2, you know what? They went to Detroit and beat now who is America's team, the Lions. And then the last 2 weeks, you could really say, you know what? Those were some games that you were supposed to win, especially that Panthers game. So, the Seahawks, all in all, they are about to get tested by their best matchup this season, straight up. They haven't played anybody as good as the Bengals this year at all. And we know that coming into this game that you have every advantage going to the Bengals. The Bengals have the better quarterback. The Bengals have the better receivers. Even though that's slightly just a little bit better, but we know that Jamar Chase kind of cancels out the 2 young receivers that the Seahawks have. But one thing I will say that the Seahawks have that the Bengals don't have coming into this game, an awesome cornerback room, dude, because those guys are special. Seriously, Witherspoon, Woolton, these guys are real ballers, and I think that they're better than what Sherman and Browner were when they were there. And Sherman and Browner were to me, probably of the last 25 years, the best cornerback duo there is. And then you line up those safeties in the back with Chancellor and with Earl, man, you still just get so many, like, damn, Legion of Boom was one of the best. And I think that this group can be better. That's how crazy it is with this group right now, because they got Jamal Adams still in that defensive backfield. So that's where I think they can really nullify the Bengals in this game. I know the Bengals feel like they just have started their groove. They're about to start moving. They're about to start getting back into playing that good Bengals football that we've seen over the last 3 years. But I truly do feel that what happens in this spot right here is that you get a Seahawks team that is going to be ready for whatever. But I think when it comes down to it, the Bengals will figure out a way to win this game. I'm taking them with the -150. I think they win this game by a final kick. It's going to be probably one of the best games of the week, to just be honest with you. It's one of the best matchups, and I think it will end up being one of the best games as well, too.
1, 2, 3, 4. On paper, your first instinct, Joe, and I thought that was the best play of the week last week. Good bounce back spot, played the money line with the Bengals. Now you think they're back, and quietly Seattle coming off a bye, which is a scary thought. My true number was Bengals minus a hook with a 41. They're up to 3 at most sports books with a 45.5. People are thinking a lot of points to be scored in this one. First one to 24 or 27 will win this game. Joe's offensive line is still banged up. Seattle will put a lot of pressure on them. Geno would have to win the turnover battle. They'd have to control the ball with their running game with Kenneth Walker and Mr. Charbonnet. Will T. Higgins play? I don't know. If not, insert Tyler Boyd. I like Joe and company to keep it rolling. I, too, took the money line -150. Close game. Great game at 1 o'clock. Again, I'll go on record here. First one to 27 wins, and that will be the Bengals, Bobs.
All right. Sounds good. I love it. It should be a great game between the AFC North and the NFC West. So, let's go ahead and jump into our next game, and this is going to be a game between two teams and going in two different directions. You got a Panthers team that's 0-5 straight up, and they're 0-5 against the spread. Then you have a Dolphins team that's 4-1 and 4-1 against the spread. The Dolphins come in here with another double-digit spread this week with the 13.5. This matches my number as well too that I had as well at 13.5 for the Dolphins coming into this game this week, over under 48 as well. Because you know what? Everybody is this is the Dolphins are the cherry pick for the cherry on top of my chalky parlay come Sunday. You know that, Jeff. And we can name the 4 teams for you right now. You know, it's going to be the Panthers. It's going to be the Panthers. It's going to be, I'm looking at the schedule now. It's going to be the Panthers. It's going to be the 49ers. It's going to be the Rams. And it's going to probably be, I would say, the Bills. These are all going to be 4 teams that people are going to feel are guaranteed winners come Sunday. But one of them is going to lose. So which one will it be? That's the question. But when I look at the Panthers, I say to myself, don't get on Bryce's case so hard. He's in a situation where he's playing with the worst type of lineup he's ever played with in his life. I just really feel bad for the kid that he got picked number 1 by the Panthers with the idea that he could be the leader of their franchise moving forward. And that's what they saw him as, because he was the best leader out of all the quarterbacks that came into this year's draft. And that's what a lot of people were looking at. Let's find the leader. You know what I mean? You want the Tom Brady's of the world. You want the Peyton Mannings of the world. Guys that are going to lead your team. They're going to be the extension of the head coach on the field. And I feel like, you know what? He's been a good student. But Frank Reich is a bad coach. Let's just keep it real. And the Carolina Panthers are not the type of organization that really knows how to build a roster from the bottom on up. Not since Jerry Richardson was there. Jerry Richardson was one of our rare owners that was an owner that really knew how to build football teams and really put teams together that are going to always play hard. You know, he made sure he had the people in place for that. But the Panthers seem like a kumbaya situation now. Like they're just trying to get by with just doing the right thing instead of just doing what helps their team win. And I'm looking at the numbers now. Bryce's numbers are not that bad. He's thrown for 750 yards. He has 5 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. This is the stat that stands out the most. He's probably the most sacked quarterback as well, too. He's been sacked 12 times, Jeff. And that means that he's not getting any type of protection for this gig at all. And it's not really his fault. This is what I keep trying to tell people is that, you know, you guys can have as many jokes as you want to about Bryce being this short quarterback and all this stuff, but the kid can play. The guy is a gamer. And if you would have had him on your Patriots, I'm telling you right now, your Patriots wouldn't be 1-4. Because Belichick is the perfect type of coach for a Bryce, because he comes from Patriot type programs, modern day, best program in America. Alabama, best program in America. And then you go to the Carolina Panthers, bottom of the barrel of the NFL. It's a total opposite change. If he would have went to, say, a team like who else was drafted in the top? If he would have been able to get to Indianapolis, that would have been a better look for him. Even if he would have been able to get to Texas, that would have possibly been a better look for him. But just all in all, having to play for the Carolina Panthers at this point of the Carolina Panthers franchise is an utter disaster for this kid. But hopefully they can turn that thing around over there step by step. The Dolphins, let's keep it real. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the AFC, in my opinion. Yeah, I know they got popped by the Bills, but how many times have they been popped by the Bills up in Buffalo? We know the story. You know, we know that they can't win up there. And it happens. So pretty much the Dolphins, we know that this is going to be a tough test for the Panthers. We know the Dolphins are going to come in here with the right attitude that they can't take this team, that they got to take this team seriously. But we'll see. We'll see, because the Dolphins might be reading the press clippings again this week, and it could get a little murky because they got a little cute against the Giants. The Giants just were kind of just already overwhelmed, so they weren't able to get back in this game. But if the Panthers go in here with the idea that, you know what, it's us against the world, anything can happen. That's why I'm willing to take the Panthers with the plus 13.5 this week, because I trust a desperate team more than a team that knows where they're headed to.
My true number was 14 with a 48, down to 13.5 with a 48.5. Vegas has this peg 31-17. Can the Panthers get to 17 is my first big question. If so, can they get to 20, 21? They're not going to go in here and try to match Miami pound for pound here in the area assault of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devin A-Chain, who I have everywhere, my diamond in the rough, rookie of the year, out for a couple weeks, might have to go onto the IR as well. I look for a very business-like Dolphins team. Like last week, they were playing a lot of grab-ass pops. They knew they had the game at hand. A couple brain farts by Tua, but they took care of business when they had to. Dolphins win, of course. I bought the hook, took the Panthers up to that key number of 14. We'll take 15, 16, or 17 to beat me. I'll go on record here. Miami 30, Miami 27, and I'm going to go Panthers 17, and I'll take the cover.
And you know what? This could be the type of game that winds up being one of the bigger upsets of the year if you overlook it too hard. You know what I mean? That's why I keep saying, like, yeah, you can't treat these NFL teams like they're in college. You know what I mean? Because any given Sunday, guys, any given Sunday. Because you know, we don't know what defense could give two of the most headaches in a season. And we've seen it happen before, Jeff, where the great Peyton Manning would struggle against maybe one of the worst teams in the league because that day they decided to play some defense, you know what I mean, and play some good defense, and the Colts didn't see that coming. So it is what it is. But let's go ahead and get into the Saints and the Texans. Saints coming in here 3-2, Texans 2-3. Plus 1.5 spread to the Texans, over under 41.5. Funny thing is, Jeff, you know, I had the Texans as the favorite for this game because I felt like, you know, the Texans have played good football over the last few weeks, and I would think that, you know, the Saints are a team that you really can't trust coming into the spot. Even though they beat up on the Patriots last week 34-0, the Patriots are a shell of themselves. We both know this. That's not your 2002 Patriots. That's not your Bill Belichick, Tom Brady Patriots. This Patriot bunch is like the Patriots that had Volak as the quarterback. And, you know, I forgot who the head coach was, but, you know, everything pre-Parcells. That's what this looks like. And at the end of the day, you know, you have a Saints team that's really, to me, a bunch of underachievers. Derek Carr really isn't the answer for that team. You looked at the numbers, and the defense really still was the star of the game. And they just pretty much said that, you know what, we're going to shut all this down because we don't trust the quarterback either. But what we're going to do is we're going to do our job every single time, and we're going to figure out ways to try to turn our turnovers into points so we can make our lives a lot easier today. And that's exactly how that game went. The Texans played play for play against the Falcons. They much props to him. DeMeco Ryans got his team believing. CJ Stroud is playing like a 10-year vet at this point. You know what I mean? And he's using guys that they felt weren't going to be big time playmakers. Their numbers look better than some of the best receivers in the league right now. And that's going to be Nico Collins and Tank Dell. So, you know, you got a lot of good things going on in Houston right now with this team. I wouldn't say bank on getting to the playoffs this year, but I would say this team now looks like a team that can win 6 to 7 games this season, and they are doing a great job of building something great there in Houston. But at the same time, too, they do play in a wide open division, and they do have themselves a pretty big division win over who was seen as the division champ before the season even started, the Jaguars. So with the Texans, you can believe in anything that they're doing week in and week out because they believe in themselves. And I just think that if they can get things going early, they'll probably be able to have another track meet because those 2 wins the Texans had, they were dominant. Those were 2 of the more dominant wins of the season. And only teams that have dominated teams like that in the game this year in back-to-back weeks is the San Francisco 49ers. And guess where DeMeco was last year as the defensive coordinator with San Francisco. So you're kind of seeing a mini version of what they had going on in San Francisco as the way that they're building this team up. But I do like the Texans money line plus 105 in this spot to win this game. And I think the Texans win this game by 10 or better, to be honest with you, Jeff. I just feel that good about them coming into this one.
I was looking at this game, and I too like where your eyes are. My number was Saints -2 with a 41. It's down to 1.5 with a 42.5. Then I look at my spreadsheet and I see next Thursday night the Saints host the Jaguars. So, and I have a pick 'em on that game right now. But my point is, we had the upstart Houston Texans take a step back last week in Atlanta. New Orleans comes into Foxborough and absolutely obliterates them. Now they got to travel to Houston. And, I'm on the Texans here. I got them plus 2 points here. We bought the hook, so it's going to take a field goal to beat us. This will be a CJ Stroud, let's win the turnover battle. Let's try to establish Damian Pierce in some way. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, who is now in concussion protocol, Robert Woods, let's keep them occupied, but in the same token, let's not, first 1 to 30 wins here as well with a over under of only 42.5. Low scoring affair. First 1 to 24 wins this game. I could even see a 21-20 game, coin flip game. Give me the Texans plus the 2 to cover, if not win the game outright, Pops.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good, brother. All right. So here we are. Colts, Jags, 3-2, 3-2. This is for the lead in the AFC South. Who would have thunk it? Colts and Jags. But you know what, Jeff? We said at the beginning of the year, if the Colts could figure it out, because they had a roster in place that said, you know what, this roster can win the division, but we're trusting a rookie quarterback this year that had some questions coming out of college of being actually a pretty, serviceable NFL quarterback. We know that he's a freak of nature and he's just an awesome quarterback, but Anthony Richardson, it could be special, but he has to learn how to slide. He has to learn how to not put himself in danger. And I think that he has the Cam Newton complex where you think you're bigger than what you truly are. And then you have to figure out that, we're not over at Gainesville Eastside High anymore. And you're gonna have these big 300-pound 4-3 runner and 4-3 guys that can really go ahead and end your career if you want to go ahead and be a crash test dummy each and every time you run the ball. Because literally he tried to do a play where it was mano a mano, and he got squashed, and that was very vital towards the game. But once again, Gardner Minshew saves the day and gets him a win. And so pretty much I love the Anthony Richardson play now. I think that it was one of the better picks in the NFL draft this year. I understand totally why he was taking over the quarterbacks that were behind him as well, too, because when you look at the traits and you look at the measurables, it's really hard to say that those guys are better than Anthony Richardson. And when you really look at it in all senses of the word, you say to yourself, Anthony Richardson kind of belongs in Carolina while Bryce belongs in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? Because the way that Anthony Richardson plays, it's Cam Newton 2.0. But Cam Newton was a little bit of a better thrower than Anthony Richardson. But all in all, the Colts came up with a great pick here. They've shown that they do know how to scout the quarterback position. And I truly do feel if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy after, learning how the NFL is, he's going to have a pretty good career, and I enjoyed watching him on QB1. I had never seen that, Jeff, with the QB1 with him and Bryce Young and the kid that plays over at Iowa now, Hogan, who's the quarterback. But that was one of the better QB1s because all the kids were real positive in that one. You know what I mean? Nobody was really that cocky. But Anthony Richardson, you can see that the humbleness in this kid. You know what I mean? His mother, his brother, all these people. And that's why you say to yourself, you can really root for this guy because he really does love the game. And I think that's what the Colts really drafted him for. And you see the Jaguars have a team that's has expectations. And I think the Jaguars got some love from the NFL. They showing a lot of love towards their owner. Let's keep it real. let's keep it real. That when you got some money in this league, they're going to show you some love. And when you spend that money in this league, they're going to show you some love. So they let him stay in Europe for 2 weeks because they know that this helps the Jaguars' bottom line because they don't sell games out, even as a good team. And so pretty much being in England for 2 weeks, you pretty much can go ahead and make all the money that you would have made like all year long at home. So, they got a little bit of some love from the NFL being able to spend 2 weeks in a place where they always play really well at. But now they got to come back home. And I truly do feel that coming back home, being in London for the last 2 weeks, it's going to catch up with you a little bit. It is because you got to get back into your normal regimen, but it's going to take a couple days as well too. You're back at your regular training camp. You're back at all the places that are normal to you, but you've been on vacation for the last 2 weeks. And I just feel like the coach believe in themselves a lot more than the Jaguars believe in themselves at this moment. And when I really get down to the gist of things, I truly do feel that the Colts have what it takes to win a game when the going gets tough. And I know the Jaguars did it last week against the Bills and everything like that. But I think the Colts have a little bit of revenge on their mind because they let this one go against the Jaguars week 1. So I love the Colts again this week, Jeff. I'm taking them with the plus 4.5, but I'm going to have them as one of my plays this week as a straight up play on my weekly list as well, too. I like them with the plus 4.5 here. Jeff, what are your thoughts on who you have winning this game?
I thought the Jags were in the perfect spot last week, and they took it right to the Bills start to finish. 2 weeks in London, 2-0 in London. That was supposedly going to be their future home. Now come back home. My true number was 3.5 for the 45.5. Now up to 4.5 for the 45.5. Initially, Vegas had this peg 24-21. I like where your eyes are. I like the revenge spot. Anthony Richardson on the IR. Talked to some Colts people this week already, and they're fearing that he might need surgery and be done for the year there. Michael Pittman has had a big year for them. The emergence of Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor back, Josh Downs, another big year. I went the other way. I took the Jags -4, minus the hook. If they keep the momentum going, this is a spot where they need to find a way to win, obviously, because it's a short week and they travel to New Orleans, and that will be a tough game. Again, as I said, as I have it as a pick 'em as we speak, and people do listen. FanDuel of Pennsylvania has now listed the Jags -1.5 for next Thursday. Give me the Jags -4, minus the hook. Listen, you got to keep that team that played the last 2 weeks going. ETN, a monster week last week. Get Calvin Ridley going. Ingram drops a touchdown. Defense playing well, Pops. Zay Jones banged up again. Christian Kirk needs some more catches on that side. But I like the trend the Jags are going. Perfect spot for your upset, though. Revenge. Was it Gardner Minshew, right? Gardner Minshew and Pittman and all those guys. So I like where your eyes are here. Give me the favorite. I don't like it, though. I can see the Colts not only cover and winning this game outright, though, Pops.
All right, but Jeff is just being nice because he knows good and damn well that he got the Jags winning this game by 10 points. But he's just trying to.
I'm telling you, when is the last time the Jags home short favorite? They don't do well in this spot, Pops.
Right, and you know what? It's just hard to trust them after what happened with Houston. I want to trust them. If I'd have got a 2.5 for the game, which I kind of set up myself. I set it up at a 2.5 or 3. And I felt like, okay, if you get that number, give me the Jags. But they didn't give me that number. They're saying 4.5. You're telling me that you don't trust the Colts, and we're going to stop playing you don't trust the Colts games because they got the talent. You know what I mean? This team they were the number one team odds-wise the last 3 years. So, what changes? The roster wasn't heavily turned over. So, all you get is a new quarterback. And then give me Gardner Minshew. I'm all right with that. I'm good with that. But with that, we're going to go ahead and we're cooking right now. So We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to jump into our final late game, and then we're going to get into all of our afternoon games. So you guys stay right where you are. We'll be right back with the NFL Bet Exchange.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
Oh, yeah, and real quick, with Anthony Richardson's injury, too, I just think that I think that pretty much they should do the right thing, and they got to put him down for 6 weeks, just to teach him, just so he learns that that this is we need you, buddy. And I'm seeing the report now, and it's just man, that stinks. But at the same time, too, you get to see Gardner Minshew, you get an opportunity as well, too. And I always felt that possibly Gardner could have been the starter, but I know what they wanted to do. They wanted to make sure that the kid had something. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is at the end of the day. But all in all, let's see what we have up here. Could this be the game of the week, Jeff? We got the 5-0 49ers, the 2-2 Browns. And you know what? This game reminds me of a game that was played 30 years ago between the Browns and the 49ers. And the 49ers was the team. They was really, really good at that time. I think they was coming fresh off the Super Bowl. Jeff, you know what game we're talking about. Monday Night Football, Bernie Kosar's final game as a Cleveland Brown, pretty much as the starter of the Browns. You know what I mean? And then, Belichick had his little ego situation and got rid of him. You know how it goes. But, pretty much that's why Bill Belichick will always be seen as an evil person. But we'll have a talk about that later. But all in all, though, everything went exactly the way that I put it out, because y'all got to understand, I don't look at the lines the week ahead like Jeff does. Jeff got all that stuff right in front of him, but me, I try to be like Sammy Knuckles and set up the line, set it up like the old bookies used to back 50 years ago, and from what I saw, that this was a definite 4.5 point spread to it. You know what I mean? Because the Browns just were so lousy in their last game. That's what odds makers are going to look at. The Browns weren't good in their last game. And the 49ers have been an absolute just session. They just been a unit. And this team has been awesome. This team is literally went into every single game and pretty much beat teams up and walked up either out of Levi or their stadium with a big smile on their face and saying that, you know what? We ain't impressed with ourselves yet. That's how I'm feeling with the 49ers. But I think the 49ers got real cute come Sunday, because they were going against a team that is like a viral situation for them. Because when they play against the Cowboys, they always look at this game like it's the NFC Championship on Fox in 1993. It's like they'll never get over that situation. So they always sell the game like it's a championship type situation. So the 49ers beat them up, and it looked like a high school game at the end, the way that they were celebrating this. And you hadn't seen the 49ers really celebrate like that all season. But they wanted to just get that off their chest real quick. And you know what? This is usually a spot where I would say there should be a letdown this week, but I don't trust the Browns at all going into this game. The Browns got to prove to me that they're a team that's more than just their defense right now, because the offense is not doing much, okay? And it's really tough without Nick Chubb, because Nick Chubb makes everybody honest. And without Nick Chubb, the Browns really are one-dimensional on the offensive end. And if they can't get Cooper involved the way that you need to get Cooper involved, they're going to have issues moving forward. And if you don't have a healthy Deshaun Watson come Sunday, just forget about it, because I love DTR. I think DTR is going to be an awesome quarterback in this league, but he showed Sunday that he wasn't ready for the moment a few Sundays ago. And it's understandable because he's a guy that would have had to start right away for that to be a comfortable situation for him. Maybe if he has to play this week, he could be a little bit better, but you got to do this against the San Francisco 49ers, a team that literally is balling out of control, and their defense is actually much better than their offense. It's just insane to even think that you got a chance in this game. But the one thing that helps the Browns is the game's in Cleveland, somewhere where the 49ers have not ever been good at. And also the game is a game that features two of the best defenses in the league. And then we really get to test Brock Purdy out against the elite defense to see exactly if he'll be able to hang. And last time we saw Brock against the elite defense, it wasn't that good. It was against the Eagles, and they put him out the game. But I'm going to say this before I put my play out. Brock Purdy has arrived. Let's stop the games with the Brock Purdy. It doesn't look like an NFL quarterback. He doesn't do this, do that in the third. Brock Purdy is a gamer. Brock Purdy is in the same lines as the Brad Johnsons of the world, the Trent Dilfers of the world, the Matt Hasselbacks of the world. High-end game manager. You know, he looks like how your boy Brady did in the first 5 years as well, too. Just don't mess it up. That's all I need to do. Don't mess it up. And while I'm still learning how to perfect this professional game, just don't mess it up, and you're good. And that's exactly what's going on here with the San Francisco 49ers. Give me the 4.5 on the Niners. And I know this sounds crazy. They might kick me out of the dog pound for this one, Jeff. But, you know, we don't play favorites here. We got to go with what works. And the 49ers are what's working right now. Ride that hot hand. That's what it's all about.
This has the same setup as opening day at Pittsburgh, where the San Fran came in, took care of business, shut down Kenny Pickett right away, and they had the game won in the first quarter. During break, I was reading, and I know you don't want to hear this, that if Watson is not available to go, they might go to PJ Walker instead of DTR, and I was thinking of you there on that one as well. Watson now playing the we're not sure card is comical. Browns coming off a bye week, which is, again, a tough spot. San Fran riding the high of the domination on the late night game against Dallas. My true number was San Fran -6 with a 41, down to 5.5 with a 37.5. If you were to crown a Super Bowl champ right now after week 5, obviously we'd give it to the 49ers. Come see me in December. Come see me in January. I love San Fran. I love everything they do. But we know this is a week-to-week, what have you done for me lately? Brock Purdy, yes, has arrived with weapons of Deebo Samuel. What has really opened up CMC's, the funny thing of talking to colleagues today, Pops, when we were drafting in August, July, September, and you had the number 1 pick, the safe pick was Jefferson. And then I'm going to take Tyreek. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. And CMC was standing right there, and everyone's like, I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. Well, he's still standing, and their defense is playing great. I took the points, Pops. I took the +5, bought the hook, 39, 21-17 final. I will put 49ers on upset alert, meaning they're due for a clunker, a west to east dog pound team coming off the bye week. Predicated, obviously, if Watson plays. Give me the Browns +5. Sprinkle a little something on the pizza and beer on the to win outright, and make a statement in what we thought was the toughest division. Show me what you got, Browns. Defensive struggle here, Pops. 21-17 all day.
All right. Well, You know what? I don't have problems with PJ Walker starting. I would much rather see the Browns go with the guy that has a little bit more experience here. You know what I mean? And you know what? You see that the getting rid of Josh Dobbs was a lot bigger than what it really looks like on the surface. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But DTR, I don't care what anybody says. DTR is going to be a star in this league. Once you give him something to where he knows he's the starter and he's going to be the man, then it'll be different. DTR's first ever college game was even worse. You know what I mean? And they almost won that game. That was against Cincinnati. You remember that game, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
And we said, can the kid even throw? I remember we all said that. We said, can he even throw a football? And DTR came such a long way since that point. So that's why I'm not worried about the development of what's going on with them. But if you got to go with another quarterback, go with another quarterback. But what happened to Kellen Mond? You know, Kellen Mond, they brought him all the way back. But
I think he got cut. Did he get cut?
I think when they waived him, he got picked up because they were trying to bring him back. Because what happened with him was they traded Dobbs, they kept him, then they waived him, and then they were trying to bring him back to the practice squad. But I think they missed on that because Kellen Mond's a pretty good quarterback as well too. But let's go ahead and jump into our late games. In the late games, let's go ahead and we got a fun one here. We got your beloved Patriots, even though I know that they're not, but we got just beloved Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, California don't want to claim the Raiders no more. You know, we want to, but we don't want to anymore. You know what I mean? Because, you know, y'all forgetting about who we are. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. The Raiders and Patriots, this one is what we call the Belichick Bowl, you know, the Patriot Way Bowl, you know, all that good stuff. But the Patriot Way, has left the building, Jeff. Patriot Way left when Tom Brady left, okay? And we know this. 20 years of being on top of the NFL is a bit damn too long, okay? And everybody knows that. And that's just what's happening right now with the Patriots. The Patriots ship is falling apart. The Patriots were like a great vessel that for years was carrying the NFL, carrying a lot of the storylines of the NFL, all that good stuff. But they took on so much baggage, so much cargo that it's just a raggedy, just old situation now. And what do we do here, Jeff? That's the question. Since it's your team, sometimes we'll let you start this one off. What are your thoughts on this game? Who do you have winning?
You know, the Raiders now 2-3 as well, Pops. The Patriots played in Vegas last year, had the game won. This was the crazy last play, and they lateraled it back. And was it Chandler Jones gets it, steps on Mack, and runs it back for a touchdown. What do the Patriots do? You know, I was listening to the locals yesterday, and as we get older, I'll be 57 in November. What was Bill Belichick known for 20 years plus with Tom Brady? Attention of details. There was nothing that Bill did not have covered. It was like he was playing chess while everyone was playing checkers. Well, the attention of detail has left the building. It's a team in total dysfunction junction. Offensive line, defense, no wide receiver can get open. Mac Jones seeing ghosts. Ramondre Stevenson is nowhere to be found. The list is endless, and it's almost to the point where you just want to start over. And Bill is now looks like Don Shula, you know, when Don was at the end of his reign. There comes a time where loyalty for a business, where you look the guy straight in the eye and says, I love what you did the last 20 years. It's not working. We have a job upstairs if you'd like it. Otherwise, how would you like us to do the press release? I took the Pats plus the 140 on the money line, more for poops and giggles because it can't get any worse. And I'd rather see the Pats lose at this point and get a good draft pick, maybe a Derek May. I mean, a May from UNC. Start over, use Mac Jones is only getting $2.3 million. If he wants to be a backup, fine. If he wants to leave, we'll send him somewhere for a 5th-round draft pick at this point. It's nothing more than you can't get any worse than you have. Here's the problem of the Patriots in a nutshell. Week 1, 16-0. Week 2, 17-3. In Dallas, 17-0. This week, 17-0. They get crushed in the first quarter and they can't play from behind, and that means they can't get Stevenson going. Patriots actually have the lead in the first quarter, have the lead at halftime. Ramondre Stevenson scores. Give me the Pats money line, Pops.
All right. And you know what? This is Jeff. You know, it was really hard for me to do this, but I'm taking the Raiders because the Raiders to me are an absolute just joke in all senses of the word. Last night should have they won that game? I don't know. You know what I mean? They didn't really play with effort, in my opinion. They played good enough to say that they were trying. You know, I truly do feel that the Raiders have given up on whatever Josh McDaniels is talking about. And how do you still have fans saying, fire the guy, and you just won the game? That's not good. That's bad. The culture with the Raiders is non-existent right now. Whatever they were in LA, whatever they were in Oakland, that doesn't exist anymore. You know, you get out there and you see a field with nothing but smoke around it after halftime, and you say, what are we doing here? Why does every game have to be a Super Bowl show? And then guess what Jimmy G does 2 plays into the second half, Jeff? Guess what he does? Throws an interception. Why? Because he can't see the damn field. Because you got a concert going on at halftime. What do you need to have a concert going on at halftime for? I don't know if Mark Davis's mind is on actually winning football games. I think it's just more on entertaining the road crowd. Because once again, it sounded like it was a Packers friendly game. I've never witnessed so many Raider games have the opposing fans be that loud, Jeff. Ever. And it's almost nauseating now that, you know, that are Raiders fans even showing up, you know what I mean, for the games anymore? Probably not, because most Raider fans live in California. Let's keep it real. Don't believe the myth that everybody in Vegas loves that team, because that's not true. I stayed in Vegas. I know this. So pretty much where are we at right now with the Raiders? We're in a make or break situation. They're not going to the playoffs. Let's just put that into play right now. What do they do from here? This is just to make them feel good about beating Bill Belichick. That's not even fun anymore, because Bill Belichick and his group literally are getting wasted every single week now. They're not even relevant anymore. That's what makes it really sad about, you know, the Patriots. So minus 160 is almost like, Jeff, I'm just trying to make it 50-50 on the game. Because if it was really up to me, I would take the Patriots, because you know what? I know that Bill's going to come up with something that's just going to whoop Josh's ass in this game. I just know he is. It's going to be his best coach game of the season, because the Raiders will allow it. That's what the problem is. That's exactly what the problem is. And, you know, me and you both know Bill Belichick knows how to beat the Raiders. He easily knows how to beat the Raiders, even with a bad team like this. So I won't be surprised if the Patriots come and absolutely crush the Raiders too. And I know it sounds crazy today, but the Raiders they're one of those type of teams where, you know, if they just don't feel like playing, they can just get their ass kicked as well too. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day. But I'm taking the Raiders minus 160, and you know, we say 7 Hail Marys and we'll go from there. Overspending on the Raiders, I wouldn't see the day, but you know what? Today's the day, I guess. All right, so let's move forward. And this game is an easy one to talk about. This one, we don't even have to sit here that long. We got the Cardinals, 1-4. We got the Rams, 2-3. Rams, again, -6, over under 47.5. The Rams have probably lost 1 game to the Cardinals over the last 10 years, maybe 2. And yes, I was at the last home game that the Cardinals beat them in as well too, because the Cardinals destroyed them that day. But the Cardinals had a team that started that season off 8-0. Remember that team? Yeah, they were pretty good. Kyler Murray in that group. So, you know, when I look at this one right here, it's not hard for me, Jeff, to pick a winner because the Cardinals' little aura of scrappiness and all that stuff, it's worn off. It kind of wore off when we got to San Francisco. And last week, it just really showed that, okay, the Cardinals really are just a bunch of tryhards, but they're not good. They're a high level college football team out here, and pretty much everybody was plays down to their level the first half of a game. They're not a second half team. I feel like the Rams can play their most complete game of the season in this game right here. And this is the game for it because they're coming fresh off of a loss against the NFC elite, the best team in the conference at this point right now, the defending champ, the guys that are probably the most physical team other than the 49ers. So, you come and you go against a soft team like the Cardinals who've been playing pretty good defense, but at the same time too, they're still going to get scored on. But all in all, you truly do feel that this one does wind up just being a Rams blowout. I'm taking the -6 on the Rams. I don't even like calling for blowouts, but this one has blowout written all over it.
This is my survivor pick this week is the Rams. My true number was a 6 for the 46, up to 48.5 for the 6.5. I also believe in the Rams, the return of Cooper Kupp, the emergence of Puka. You still got Tutu, Kieran Williams in the backfield. Defense, Mr. Darnold himself. Dobbs got kind of exposed late against Cincinnati, trying to play from behind. I think it's just a perfect get-well spot for the Rams to get back to 500 and keep moving forward. I bought the hook, took the Rams to 5.5. Vegas has this at 27-20. I don't think Arizona gets to 20. I see this more as a 27-17 game. I like the Rams early and often this week, Pops.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, let's get into the Lions and the Bucks. This is my favorite game this week. You got a Lions team 4-1. You got the Bucks coming off the bye 3-1. Bucks +3 dog at the house over 44. When I set this one up, I actually had this as I had the Bucks favored in this game because the Lions as a road favorite is a rare thing. Even when you're a bad team. Over the years, the Lions you still wouldn't make the Lions the favorite on the road. We've changed our course of thinking when it comes to the Lions now, Jeff. They're now one of those teams. So them being a favorite on the road this week is no surprise because I think they have this idea that the Bucks got figured out in that game against the Eagles, and we saw who they really are and all that good stuff. But let's keep it real. They played the Eagles. The Eagles are going to give everybody fits. The Eagles are going to give everybody a game that looks like they're not on the level of being a superior NFL team. I still believe in what the Buccaneers are doing because the Buccaneers are doing everything up under the radar, and you're not believing in what they're going to do. You know what I mean? They want to favor Atlanta. They want to favor New Orleans, but they want to keep overlooking the Bucks. The Bucks have been the team that's won this division the last 2 years. So why wouldn't they be able to win the division this year? Todd Bowles has been there for the last 5, and he's collected 4 of them while he's been there. So it's not tough for him to win his division. And he knows that they win the division by winning games like this one. And the Lions are vulnerable for this type of situation where everything goes kind of wrong because they haven't really been challenged like that yet. Let's keep it real. Their first 2 games were probably their toughest games of the season. When you look at the rest of their schedule, the Lions pretty much have ripped apart teams that are going to be drafted in the top 15 this year. But that's no excuse. You can only play what's in front of you. And what the Lions are doing is very, very incredible this season. You see that they've truly turned the corner. But you also see that the Bucks are a very veteran-laden team, and they have what it takes. They have the right coach in place. And I think they have the better coach when it comes into this game. I know everybody loves Campbell because he used to play in the NFL, and he has that let's go and win it for the Duke. You know what I mean? Whatever attitude that is, you know what I mean? That Newt Rodney motivational speaking, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to X's and O's, I feel like Todd's a much better coach. And you putting Todd Bowles' defense against the Detroit Lions offense, and I feel like his defense wins out in this game. I'm taking the Bucks as my good news only dog bet of the week. Plus 145 on the Bucks at home. Come on, you give me the Bucks at home plus 145. And you know what, Jeff? Before I hand it over to you, this reminds me of one of those old school Fox games from about 95, 96 when the Lions and the Bucks were both in the NFC Central. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ton of fun in this game. Barry going against Sapp and Lynch and the boys. You remember those games, Jeff. I hope you do, But those games were a lot of fun because that's when they first went from being the creamsicle gang to being the brick boys. That's when they changed their jerseys and everything. But all in all, Jeff, what are your thoughts on this game?
That was my initial thought. Is that we're waiting for a hiccup from the Lions. They had the one hiccup at home against Seattle. Now look what they've done on the road. They went into Kansas City and won an opening night, and then they go into Lambeau Field and whitewash them on a primetime game. The MVP to the Lions this year, hands down, is Aiden Hutchinson. He is a force. He can't be stopped. So as I put together my thought process and looked at the numbers here, as much as I like the underdog and the upset home dog coming off a bye, I think Aiden Hutchinson and the Lions D will be the key here. I look for the Lions D to give Baker fits. I look for the Lions D to get a pick six here and score. I took the Lions money line minus 165. I left the points on the board. I think the Lions keep making statements. I think they get to 5-1, and I think it's a big win for them on the road in Tampa. Look for Mr. Montgomery to keep doing what he's doing. Maybe Jamar Gibbs finally gets rolling. We don't know. Don't know if St. Brown will be playing this game. Josh Reynolds has played great. The Sam Laporta rookie tight end has been phenomenal. I like everything I'm seeing with this Lions team. Let's keep it rolling with the Lions, Pops.
All right, sounds good. We're going to take one final commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to go through our final late game, and then we're also going to go through our Sunday night and Monday night football games as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back to you.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. So you guys already know. Let's go ahead, jump into this final game. And you know what? This game is probably the game of the afternoon. You know that this is going to be the talk of this week because you got the Eagles coming in here 5-0. You got the Jets coming in here 2-3. It was supposed to be bigger than this because you thought Rodgers was going to be a part of it. So it doesn't have the pop culture feel to it that it usually does and the selling of the game. But we know that what we're selling here, we're selling the Eagles in New York. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And the Eagles, I would say they have probably became a team that everybody in the NFL is following this story now. You know what I mean? Because they're literally just dominating the NFC. I haven't seen an NFC dominant run like this since the Cowboys in the 90s, where they just steamroll through everybody. And, I know it's the 49ers is really good as well, too. But the Eagles are special. That's the thing about it. You know what I mean? The 49ers look really good. Everything looks ultra high end and all that good stuff. But you've seen the Eagles do it against some of the better teams in the NFL this year. And you say to yourself, hey, they really beat those guys up today. You know what I mean? Like, because they really physically take a lot out of teams, man. And I know they've had some games where they just been, it got a little murky with like the Minnesota game, the Washington game. And those were home games. But them being road warriors is a different story. They've just been too good on the road, in my opinion. And I think that it's something that is really good for the NFL when you have the Eagles playing like this because they're one of the more hardcore fan bases in the league as well too. But with the Jets coming into this game, the Jets have played their best football over the last 2 weeks. Let's keep it real. They lost to the Chiefs, and that was kind of because they didn't know how to win. And then last week, they figured out exactly what they had to do. Just give Brees Hall the damn ball and move out the way. What are we doing? Why are we trying to make Zach Wilson some all-pro quarterback? Just let Zach Wilson do what Kirky does. Be a game manager and get your offense through your running game and be a deceptive offense. It's not that hard. And this is why I keep saying Robert Saleh, Hackett, all these guys need to be fired at the end of the year if the Jets don't improve and really win. To me, the Jets got to win 7 games for them to keep their jobs. Seriously. Because I think they're the ones holding this team up. When you're saying, I don't believe in the quarterback. Oh, I believe in him now since Aaron Rodgers got hurt. No, you don't believe in him. The only reason why your team is even trying and winning because they believe in the quarterback. They don't believe in you. That's what the thing is. That's what I'm seeing at this moment right now. They love playing with each other. They don't love playing for this coach. And since they love playing for each other, I can trust them this week as well too, Jeff. I'm going to take the Jets to be a spoiler. We all know, Jeff, this is about the time of year, early October, some really good team walks into MetLife, Meadowlands 30 years ago, and the Jets beat them by 10 or better. Jets had their best defensive game of the year. They had their best offensive game, all against the NFC champion Eagles here, Jeff. But I'm going to take them on the spread plus 6.5 because I feel like they played good enough football over the last few years to tell us that they're going to be really good this game. What are your thoughts, and who do you have winning this game?
What the Eagles can do that no other team in the NFL can do is they can play keep away. They did it against Tampa at Tampa. Tampa punted the ball to them with 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and Tampa never saw the ball back. And they did it again this past week where their running game is so efficient that they just move the chains. It's like death by 10,000 paper cuts. Now they come to New York. New York, big win in Denver. I don't want to say the emergence of Zach Wilson, but it was Brees Hall off of a pitch count, and you saw the real Brees Hall. They have a Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. They need another wide receiver to become relevant. Maybe that's Alan Lazard. Tyler Conklin, finally a part of the offensive game plan as well. Now, the defense can slow down anyone, but can they slow down this Eagles team? We bought the hook. We took the Jets plus 7. Flashbacks of a few years ago when the Cowboys rolled in undefeated, 7-8-point favorites, and the Jets won outright. I like where your eyes are. I don't know if the Jets have enough to win outright, but I think they can keep it within a touchdown, Pops. We took the Jets plus the 7.
All right. So Jeff got the 7 on the Jets, and you know what? We need to, and let's make sure y'all better make sure that me and Jeff get some free food next time we in Queens too, man. We showing a lot of love to the Jets right now. I need my free tickets over to Citi Field or something, buddy. Jets fans, y'all better look out. All right, so let's go ahead, jump into our Sunday night football game, and our Sunday night football game is going to be a battle of West New York. The New York team versus the team that says they New York City's team, but they play in Jersey. So the only team that plays in New York going against the team that swears they play in New York. that they rep New York, but they play in Jersey. My bad. So, and also, this was one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen. Even though in today's NFL terms, they would have said, "Oh, that game was so boring. It was so bad." And da 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 da. That was a game. That was a chess match, buddy. And that's why I say to myself, you guys really don't understand football. You guys are too spoiled with these Madden type scores to really understand the beauty of the game. This was a beautiful game, Jeff, because why? The Giants were not supposed to come anywhere near beating the Bills that day, but they wound up beating them because of a circumstance with that kick. The kick didn't make it through. But we all both know that the Bills lost a lot of bettors' money that day. And the Giants made a lot of bettors' money that day, just like they've done in the last two other Super Bowls they was in as well, too. Well, they were been in 3 since that time, but we know we won't talk about the one that happened with the Ravens. That's still one of the more uglier Super Bowls I've ever seen. One-sided games. I'll put that one up there with Seattle, Denver as well too. But this is all you talk about. If the Giants don't have Saquon Barkley, they don't have a chance. It's that simple. Okay, it's just really, really, really a lost season. Let's keep it real. Saquon killed the season early by complaining about money. And then when they paid Daniel Jones, that just really was the that was really what just broke the camel's back right there. Is the start of broke the camel's back because simply you don't pay guys like Daniel Jones. You make Daniel Jones play out the final year of his contract, and then you come back to him and offer him $50 million and say, you know what, be happy that you're in the NFL. It's really not that hard, Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, do you want the opportunity or do you want a lot of money? That's the real question that you have for Daniel Jones. But all in all, I'm not going to be long here, Jeff. The Bills are lights out at home. The Bills are like 20 or better at the house right now. The Raiders and the Dolphins are much better teams coming in Buffalo than the Giants are. So this is not hard for me. I don't even like taking double-digit spreads, but I'm going to take the Bills to win this game by 17 or better.
My true number was 15 with a 46.5. Bills come back from a London debacle. As you said, at home, they put up 37 or 40 against the Raiders. They put up 40 against the Dolphins. Will Barkley play? If I'm Barkley, I'm going to take the pass on this one as well. I'll maybe catch you next week. A team in total disarray. Vegas can't put a big enough number up here. Give me the Bills. We bought the hook to 13.5. Let me see, 46, now 45. This has got maybe 30 to 13 written all over it, Pops. Give me the Bills early and often.
Bills early and often. Bills. You know what? And regardless of the Bills losing Sunday, we know that the Bills are still top 5 in this league. It doesn't matter. This team is really good, but it's going to be tough without Matt Milano in the long run. But you got Von Miller back. So it's kind of a yin and yang situation, but at the end of the day, I don't think the defense falls off that much because when you bring back Von and Oliver, you should be fine. Somebody can fill in that middle linebacker spot because a lot of people don't want to say this, but the middle linebacker used to be the highest paid guy on the defense, and that doesn't happen anymore because now we pay the edge rushers and the interior guys the big dollars in the corners because they've done the same thing to the linebacker that they did to the running back. They just feel like they can just put somebody in the spot and they'll be fine. You know what I mean? Somebody who's been killing it on special teams, put him in the middle, he'll be fine. You know what I mean? Back in the day, when you were a linebacker on special teams, they usually didn't ever let you be a part of the regular defensive unit because you were a specific specialty player. Now, we got real athletes in the NFL, so it happens. But just know one thing, the linebacker used to be the highest paid man on the defensive side. Now, it just doesn't matter because the middle linebacker used to be the quarterback to your defense. And I know that's the thing that Matt Milano does for that Buffalo defense. And Buffalo's defense has been one of the better defenses in the league. So that's one of the bigger losses in the league that they won't talk about until it starts getting kind of ugly for the Bills defense. That's just something I'm throwing out there. All right, so let's get down to it. I know we're running short on time, and we have ourselves the Monday Night Football game for this weekend. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be over at SoFi, and it features two of the better offenses in the league. We thought possibly better offenses in the league, but we know that Kellen Moore has ties to both these teams. Kellen Moore, the former offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, the current offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Chargers coming into this game, Jeff, winners of their last two in a row after losing their first two games of the season. Cowboys are a team that's going through some motions right now. They got absolutely crushed in Santa Clara last week. But other than that, they've been a really good football team, other than the two hiccups that they had against the Cardinals and the 49ers on the road. But this week, they don't really get to breathe easy. This is, to me, an even tougher game for the Cowboys going into playing against a quarterback who's seen as already top three in the league in Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert, I don't care what anybody says, he should be in your early race as a possible MVP for this year because he's been absolutely just magnificent, and he's just been a jewel to watch. And the Chargers really don't know how blessed they are to have a quarterback like that, to be honest with you. And if they can ever just get out their own way and stop overthinking this thing, the Chargers can absolutely be the best team in the NFL. But until then, it's a week-by-week situation. The Cowboys, on the other hand, they know that they're going to have the world against them, okay? And I know that the world is probably going to be picking the Chargers by the time we get to Sunday night because we know how it works. But I think that everybody will be right this time around because the Chargers will go in here with the confidence knowing that they can beat the Cowboys because who they have in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is going to know exactly what defenses are getting ran right in front of them. So this puts them at a disadvantage, in my opinion. So I truly do feel the Chargers go up in here and absolutely romp and get their third win of the season. And I'm taking them with the plus 110 because I'm high on the Chargers. Chargers are still a playoff team to me, Jeff, at the end of the day. They just got to string together a good streak, and I think that starts now.
You know, it's funny. I talked about Herbert in the offseason about MVP at 9-10 to 1. They lose Big Mike a couple of weeks ago. Herbert gets hurt at the last game. Coming off the bye week, the Kellen Moore revenge game here. My number was Dallas -2 with a 48, now up to 51 or 50 and a hook in the other Vegas spots. Should have the return of Austin Eckler as well. I mean, first one to 27 wins this game. I, too, like the Chargers. I will tell you exactly what you just said is correct, is anyone that had Dallas against the 49ers will have the Chargers this week. There's no doubt in my mind. Dak has a week to sit in his big games nowhere to be found. I think there's going to be a shootout. It's going to be probably one of the funnest games to watch this week. Give me the Chargers plus 110. Again, first one to 27 wins. I think the return of Austin Eckler will be huge. Look out for Joshua Palmer to take Big Mike's spot. And maybe after the bye week, we'll see a little more Quentin Johnson as well. So give me the Chargers, Pops.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what? Don't forget about Darius Davis either. He's going to be pretty good as well, too. And Elijah Dotson, I think this will probably be the week that he really gets going. You know what I mean? Because that's another one that, when he can get some space, it's going to be special. Because A-Chain, I thought that Dotson was going to be like how A-Chain is right now. And you know what? It's just that the Chargers haven't utilized them well enough yet, but they'll get to it. But Darius Davis, though, brings the Tyreek element. And if they can figure out to put him in certain spots in certain situations, he can be a special player and be an X factor in a lot of these games for him as well, too. It's just so many weapons, so many options for the Chargers that it's just, this team can be as good as they truly want to be once they just believe in themselves, in my opinion. But all in all, another great show, Jeff. I thank you so much for your time today and everything like that. I know you got another show coming up in probably the next 8 minutes or so. So pretty much you guys make sure to get on over there, to watch Jeff's afternoon show and get some more information and all that good stuff. But all in all, though, man, I thank you so much once again. And any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up, Mr. Dawson?
It's a great schedule from the 9:30 London game to some good afternoon games. Great. I wish that they would have found a way to get the Bills and Giants out of prime time. So maybe we'll be watching baseball on the late game there, and then a great Monday game to end the card. So week 6, look for a big bounce back from both of us. Everyone remember, we want to get through October to get to November, get you to Thanksgiving, and obviously get you to December. So stay in your lanes. Don't be chasing good money with bad and vice versa. So week 6 coming up should be a good week, Pops.
All right, sounds good. This is the NFL Bet Exchange. We'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you guys keep tuning in and look for the clips too. I'll be having those up very early this week. So you guys enjoy your day. And man, once again, this is the NFL Bet Exchange, and we are gone.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid.